two things. One thing right away is I think people would be surprised. I actually never have communication with the artist of any of my books. So from the time I give over my manuscript, sometimes to the time it comes from the printers and I've opened the box, sometimes I've seen nothing until that moment. That's rarer now because I'm older and crotchety and they want to keep me happy. But it has happened where, and to be honest, I kind of like that because I'm the writer and they don't come to me and say, Sheree, change a word because I want it, I so honor their art that I think it is their job to take my words and work with a managing editor, but it shouldn't be me saying, oh, I don't like that color, or oh, it should be their creative process. Now, having said that, I've had one artist in all this time, only one, who came to me before she started on the book and said, Sheree, do you have any images in your head that you would like to see in the book? Could just talk to me about how you see this book. I couldn't believe it. That's the first time anybody asked me, what do you see in your head? Because of course I see things in my head. I have so much respect for all the artists who did my books, but that meant a lot to me. And that book was No Two Snowflakes, and the artist was Janet Wilson. And I really, really, really loved that book. And she did. One of the images I had was I wanted the two pages to come together where the girl and the brother they're in the backyard. Yeah, and one are in the sand and one the others are in the snow. They're making snow angels and sand angels, and she put that. And I was like, oh, I got an image that I had when I was writing actually in the book. I don't think anything less of the other artists that they didn't ask me because they are professionals and they're working with a managing editor. I liked it when at a certain stage in the process, all of a sudden the managing editor was like, Sheree, do you want to take a look at the sketches? Do you have anything to say? Usually I get a chance to approve of who the artist was. Not always. They would say, we want to pair you up with this. What do you think? And then they would send me a sample of their artwork and I go, yes. Or I think once or twice I said no and they went to somebody else. It has happened that books have come out that I've really not liked. There has been one book that came that for 3 days I walked around the house just fit to be tied. But like anything, you learn to live with it and you realize that, okay, this was somebody else's interpretation, and there is one book that I forget about sometimes because of that. But that's me, and that doesn't mean it's not a good book. And actually, I've been told, my baby really, really responds to the pictures in that or that book. So I feel like I know when I open up a book and I think there's a magical complementary thing, that the text and the words go together. I think a few of my books really have that. I won't even say which ones because it's not fair to all the other artists, but I can honestly say that I really feel that every artist tried their most to respect the spirit of every book. And so I'm somebody who I like to think I don't repeat myself too much, so that I do feel that the spirit of a book manifests itself different in every book. And so it's up to that artist to kind of like, what's the spirit in this book? And I can tell you that I'm really, really excited with Yayo, The Last Interpretation. Like that, to me, it's been my dream book, I have to say, because he took the Ferris wheel. I worked so hard on taking that poem, taking them and then expanding it into a story and what I thought was a good picture book, and then he went beyond the words in a magical way. And I pick up that book and all the time, and I'm still picking through it. I'm going, whoa, like he did such an incredible job with it. And not anything, like if he had come to me and said, Sheree, what do you have in your head? What a horrible thing that would have been, because what he did is so beyond what I saw. So that's why I go back to the early days when I sit with people say, you don't have any say, you don't have any input. And I go, I don't really, I want them to do their thing. Nimbus are very good letting me see at some point what Sydney has done. But again, unless it's an error, like I think that might be a wrong interpretation, like in terms of like I think that grandmother's younger than he portrayed her to be, like it might just be something like that. And Sydney's so great, he'll go, oh God, of course I'll change that. But I don't want to interfere on his process too much either, because he's redoing a backlist, so he has to kind of forget everything that was out there, and he's starting over again in a new way. And I'm just really, really, really love his work a lot. So that's kind of the way it's worked for me. It's been very hands-off. It's sometimes I've been overjoyed with the results, and sometimes I've been less than happy, but I think I always say that's why I started to write novels, because then I didn't have to worry about pictures. It was trying to tell a story without pictures, right? But I'm in awe of the magic of a really good illustrator, artist, and what they bring to the interpretation of a text. And it's, again, there's that magic element.